And the last question is premonition versus creating. So for instance, sometimes I'll have a premonition that, wow, that flight's going to be late, and then you get to the airport and the flight's late. And I wonder, and some things, obviously, I'm not, perhaps I am influencing, I don't know, but there's a confusion for me between premonition and then what.
Well, in many cases, it's the same. In other words, it is, when you become aware of how you feel, and therefore you become more vibrationally oriented than anything else, then you'll get hits on things. Things will occur to you when your intention is to be on time, and there is something known by the source within you who knows everything, and particularly everything that has anything to do with what you're about right here and now. You're going to get all kinds of impulses, all kinds of what you might call premonitions. What we want to use the word rendezvous. In other words, whether you create it, whether you line up with it, whether you cause it, or whether you discover it. If you use the word rendezvous, I'm rendezvousing with it rather than I'm creating it. I'm rendezvousing with it rather than I'm discovering it. It's a much more accurate word because law of attraction is the law that causes the rendezvousing. So don't you want to know if your flight's late, or don't you want to know if you're, and so of course that's all part of it. And so the getting the idea of it and then getting the confirmation of it, that's one of those experiences that we were talking about earlier, where we would revel in our advanced knowledge of such a thing. That's you in the vortex. You in the vortex reading the energy, you in the vortex reading the energy that's pertinent to you, and then the manifestation giving you the evidence that you were reading it accurately.
Okay.
And so, which word do you like best? Do you like thinking that you created it, or do you like thinking that you, in other words, which is a more in the vortex thought for you?
Rendezvous resonates so much better for me.
But when you are thinking in terms of, did you create the late flight or the delayed flight, or did you pick up on the fact that your flight was late, which is the better thought to you?
It depends on what if it's a late flight, I think rendezvous would be better. But if it was something that I was creating, then I would feel. But
what we're saying is, work it to your advantage, no matter what the situation is, because and you understand why.
I do.
In other words, if you say, well, I'm glad to have that information. This is the way we want you to look at all things. Everything that you come to know is the benevolent universe assisting you in knowing. In other words, being deliberate and guiding your life experience is so much better than creating your life by default. So whichever way it feels best to you, that's the drum you want to beat. That's the story you want to tell. That's the thought way you want to activate. Because, you see, you have a choice. You can activate, oh, it's all accidental and I just luck into things. Or you can activate, everything is about creation and I know about creation and I'm lining things up accurately. In other words, you can be as specific or as general as you need to be to keep yourself in the vortex. But being in the vortex is what matters.
It's that feeling of joy.
You see, we would far rather that you be really not specific and non-resistant than that you be very specific. Our engineer friend and a lot of people, they think it's better to be really specific. And we say specific is only a good thing if you're in the vortex. So the rule of thumb that we've always encouraged is be as specific as you can be and still feel good. There are a lot of people who would say, Abraham, you really teach delusion. And we say, yes, we do. It's our favorite subject. Because we do not see your determination to face reality as serving you all that well.
I understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
So we'll throw it back to you. Is it delusion or creation? In other words, is refusing to face reality, Is it delusionary? Well, many would say that it is. There it is, right there. And if you're not facing it, then you've got your head in the sand, or you're deceiving yourself, or you've got your head in the clouds, or you're pretending something that isn't. We say, but there's another way of looking at it. You could be facing reality and be witnessed by much of the world as the most accurate observer of life experience that ever existed, and you're still not creating your reality in the way you intended to do it, you see. Really good. Words are interesting, aren't they? It's what's going on behind them that really matters.